Hey guys, so I recently went to 2 interviews at Victoria's Secret, but the way it works here is my city has 2 different Victoria's Secrets, so we have 2 malls, one on one side of the street and one on the other, and both of them have a Victoria's Secret. And so I just applied to both of them on a whim just for shits and giggles, I guess. But I went to 2 different Victoria's Secret interviews, so it wasn't like it was a second interview to one of them. No, it's 2 completely different interviews. But I just want to share my experience, and I have specific interview questions that I was asked, and I want to share it with anybody who is interested in seeking out help for a Victoria's Secret interview. So this is for you guys. So one of the first things I would recommend is wearing all black. The attire they have at Victoria's Secret is to wear all black, and they notice when you wear black, they'll praise you and stuff for wearing black, or they'll use you as an example as to what their dress code is. And make sure you go all glammed out and stuff, not too excessive makeup, but I would say natural makeup, maybe a little curl here or straighten your hair and stuff. Just show that you know how to make yourself look good. Okay, so here I have my notes on my phone, and I have some paper notes that I just want to share everything in depth. So this is going to be a long video, I'm sorry, but yeah, sorry not sorry. Okay, so at one of them, for the interview questions, I'm just gonna put them all together. So one of them, they asked me these questions, and at the other one they asked me the same questions but maybe 2 or 3 more. So I'm just gonna jumble them up together just so you know what to expect. They may or may not ask you these questions, but yeah, I also studied other questions they didn't ask, but it's very helpful to know these things before you go to the interview, so just in case they ask you, you know something off the top of your head. And I'll share those questions at the end after I shared the actual ones that I had. So they were both group interviews. Sometimes they don't tell you that when they call you, but I always ask on the phone. I try to have a conversation with them, a quick convo before they hang up, and they're yeah, it's a group interview. They don't tell you that, but I freaking hate group interviews, but it's always fun to try to stand out a little. So what they do is if you come in early, they're oh, you know what, just walk around the store and stuff. And at the first one, I saw a girl, and she struck a conversation with me, and we were talking and stuff, and she was yeah, I heard that they do this so they can watch us and what we do and stuff. And she mentioned that when she was at a different interview at a different Victoria's Secret location, which was the same one I went to, she was oh, they were everyone was separated, they were all around the store and they were looking everywhere, but nobody really hit up a conversation like you did with me. So try to talk to the other girls that are being interviewed, just so you don't look I don't know, a bitch, I guess. But talk to other girls. I find that talking to the other interviewers sort of loosens me up, and I'm not as nervous as I usually am. And so yeah, so after a while they called us in, and they take us to the back into their break rooms. I know some people, they take you out to the mall to interview at the Erie and stuff. They used to do it at ours as well, but I don't know, they just take you to the break room now. So yeah, you see the back and stuff. So in total, one interview was 3 girls in total, and in another one it was 4 girls in total. So they don't well, they may or may not put you in a huge group, but try to stand out and stuff. And it was like, it was a mixture of ages too, like some were younger than me, and they interviewed like an older lady, so I guess they don't discriminate in age, and or races either, if you're like self-conscious about your race, I guess. But they like, what I noticed is that they call people back that have like job experience, and it doesn't matter like where you work. Like you could have been working at and these are actual people, but you could have been working at Starbucks, what else, Kragen, AutoZone, like you could have been working at like supermarkets, and Victoria's Secret will give you a call back. Just like they let you know at the beginning if your work history matched up with something like we thought was a great candidate, then we would call you back. So make sure like you have like a good work history in your application. The way I did it, it was a paper application. I think all of the ways you can apply for Victoria's Secret is a paper application. And I took them to the store. I didn't ask for like a manager or anything, so I wasn't being extra about it. They just called me because I had work experience, I guess, at Macy's. So that was a brownie point for me. Let's see. Okay. For your work history, if you have it, I would emphasize in like your selling goals, and upselling, and like opening up store credit cards, like if that was part of your past job experiences. If you're like if you didn't really work retail before this, I would suggest like trying to say something like that, like you know how to sell to people, you know how to talk to people, and yeah, that kind of stuff. And overall, for the interviews, I would say it was pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie, it's not easy at all. They're not easy questions. Everything is behavioral questions. They want to know how you will act upon a certain situation, and yeah, like it was crazy. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than it was intense, and they make it tricky, and sometimes they'll put you on the spot. So if you study questions and stuff, it won't hit you that bad, okay? So they will put you on the spot. And yeah, for both interviews, they both lasted up to an hour. So don't bring your phone, turn it off, you know, just be prepared to be away for a whole hour. And in the beginning of the interview, they love to talk about themselves, and so they will introduce themselves, and then they will talk about how long they've been with the company and like what they do for the company. And like in one of the interviews, one lady, she was like telling us about how she was emphasizing a lot on how Victoria's Secret is the #1 seller of bras, and bras this, bras that. And in my research, I found out that they do this so at the end they can ask you like, okay, what do we sell? Like, don't go telling them that that Victoria's Secret sells perfumes and the Angel perfumes and the pink clothing line. No, they want to hear bras. So pay attention, pay a lot of attention to what your interviewers have to say. I think one of them, there was 2 interviewers, or, well, it doesn't matter how many interviewers there are, but I noticed here at Victoria's Secret that they look at you up and down. They don't care. You will be answering and they will psych you out. They will try to psych you out. They look at you and they're staring at you. They're not looking at you eye to eye. you know, when you're answering your question, they're going like this, okay? But, you know, don't sweat it. Just keep answering your question. Don't get nervous. So I'm just gonna go ahead and like tell you like the questions they asked me, and I'm gonna throw in like examples of what the other girls may have said, just so like you can have a variety of what you can say. Sometimes I'll say it, sometimes I won't. But the first question was, tell me about yourself. Okay, this is where you have to sell yourself. Don't talk about your life story. Nobody cares. Instead, give a brief description about your previous work history. And if you're going to school or graduated, it shows you're motivated, have goals, and you're ambitious. When I answered it, I was like, oh, I just told them like I went to school here. You know, I'm a full-time student. What else? Like, I gave them like my work history, like working at Macy's, what I did there, and I mentioned that I upselled, I opened store credit cards, and what was the other thing? But they really emphasize on that, like they want you to like open the Angels cards. I don't know if you noticed that when they try to ask you that. And hold on. Yeah, anyways, they try to emphasize on like selling credit cards, their Angels cards, and what else? Like upselling. Make sure you mention that you can upsell. Because when I mentioned it, I noticed that the girl was writing that down right away. And I can't remember what was the other thing, but hold on, let me check. Oh yeah, and like giving good customer service, and like reaching personal and team sales goals. So usually when you work retail, I don't know if this is for like everyone, but you like have these sales goals. So it's basically like if you work 2 hours, excuse me, they want to know if you they'll give you like a goal to like make, I don't know, $500 in 2 hours. So you have to reach that goal, and if you don't reach that goal, like you don't sell like $500 worth of stuff, then you're fucked. And they like that. They like that whole experience. Like if you have experience in upselling and reaching goals, sales goals, and like opening credit cards, like they like that. And what else? Okay, so in one of the interviews, when I was answering my tell me about yourself question, one of the interviewers was like, she cut me off, and she was like, why Victoria's Secret? Like, she put me on the spot. I mean, I already knew what to say, why Victoria's Secret, because I had studied the question. So it didn't come at me like I don't know, like it was a bad thing. So all I said was like, it's a reputable company that sells fashion-forward items to the everyday woman and girl to feel confident and sexy, and I would just like to be a part of a company that helps a woman feel beautiful. And you don't be scared to say the word sexy, because they emphasize a lot on like how they like the customer to feel empowered by their body, and like if they're beautiful and stuff, like they want their customers to feel beautiful, and all of this, you know, stuff that makes the woman feel beautiful. So emphasize a lot on like that kind of stuff. I wouldn't say that because you shop here a lot, they don't care if you shop here a lot. So don't say that kind of stuff when they ask you like why Victoria's Secret. Say like something good. I know like this was barely the first question, and one lady, it was why Victoria's Secret, and actually no, it was tell me about yourself. And this one lady, she just kept going and going and going and pretty much telling her life story and how she was so excited when they called her for a Victoria's Secret interview and all this stuff. And she just kept like, and then she started selling herself, and then she started talking about what she used to do in her previous work, and I was just like, this is crazy. Like, she's already like telling everything, And the interviewer was like, oh, she cut her off and she was like, oh, you know what, just save some for later, like, save some answers for later, like, this is still the first question. I don't know if she was nervous or something, but don't fuck yourself over like that. You know, just keep it, not short, but like, keep it brief and sweet, you know? Another question they asked me was like, why do you want to sell bras? This is like such a really specific question. I didn't know what to say, so like, luckily the other girls were talking and stuff, but they were all like repeating about like, oh, blah blah blah, this is cool and whatnot, and I didn't want to repeat like the same thing they were saying, so I was just like, oh, Victoria's Secret has really unique bras and you can't find like the same bras in JCPenney or in Macy's. So, you know, this is like the place to go for very unique bras. Nobody else has them. Everyone else was just like copying each other and saying like, oh, the store's cool, everyone's nice, and I want to be a part of it. Like, no, just say something different. If you've noticed that someone says something that you wanted to say, maybe switch it up a little. Don't go saying like, oh, what she said, you know? That's dumb. Another question they asked was like, what's the first thing you see when you walk into the store? Everyone was copying each other in this one. They were like, oh, I noticed the organization here, everything's stocked, everything looks nice, and all of this stuff. And then I didn't want to copy them, so I was like, oh, I noticed the mannequins. Like, I was very specific about the mannequins. I was like, yeah, I like the way they're dressed. You know, I'm always looking at the mannequins. Like, those are always the ones that have the cute outfits, and I always pick those out, and it just looks nice. And yeah, like, that's what I said. But you can like say anything you want. I'm just giving you like options and stuff. Another one I was asked was like, what do you usually buy here? And she like listed off the departments that they have there. And then I was just like, oh, I usually shop lingerie and beauty, because lingerie is like all of the bras and the panties, beauty is the makeup and the sprays, and then they also give you like pink as an option, and I'm like, you can say pink and stuff. I don't think I said pink. There was another question that was like, describe a time where you've exceeded a customer's expectations. You see how fucking tricky that shit is? Like, when did I have like one-on-one time to like have such a deep connection with a customer, really? I don't know. But if you are like me and you're just like, what? Make something up on the spot. A customer didn't know what to buy, like what kind of fragrance they wanted to buy, and I gave them a paper perfume sample and they loved it, you know, because they were confused, they didn't know what they wanted. And so just come up with something like that, you know, to solve the problem. Another question was, describe a time where you reached your goal during difficult circumstances. You see how like these are like crazy questions? They hit you like real quick and you're like, oh, what do I say? But I said something about Black Friday and Christmas, how I had to work those days and that it was really hectic, and you know that we put in teamwork and we overachieved our goals and stuff. And so yeah, just say something that you can overcome your difficult circumstances. And then another question was, tell me of a time you did something that wasn't in your job description. So for this one, I said something like, oh, I would cover for some of the girls that worked at the benefit bar while they took their breaks. And one time there was a customer that wanted some mascara but didn't know which one to buy, and then all I did was ask her like, how do you have your lashes? Do you usually have them down low? Are they curly? Like, what kind do you have? And so she told me like what was her problem, and I was like, oh, well, this one isn't gonna suit you. You'd rather go with this fluffier brush for your mascara. And so they left happy, and so they just want to see if you can adapt to a different environment and if you can like do that real quick. And another question was, tell me of a time when you had a difficult situation and how you turned it into a positive one. You see how like these kind of questions are real tricky and they just want to, you know, mess you up. Just kidding. They're like sort of okay. You just gotta know what to say. And so I was like, oh, a customer wanted a fragrance, because I worked at Macy's in the fragrance department. Oh, a customer wanted a certain fragrance that wasn't in stock, so it was Acqua di Gia, but they didn't have it. But we had this similar fragrance from Dolce & Gabbana, and she loved it, and she ended up buying it. So like, you just have to, these are all behavioral questions. You need to like answer them in a way that'll make you look good, because sometimes these can make you look bad. Another question was, what did you like and did not like about your previous job? Okay, who wants to talk about like what you didn't like about your previous job? That's freaking crazy. You know, and some of the girls didn't even answer the whole what you didn't like about your job part until like I answered it. And I was like, oh, I really like the funny, weird, and unique customers that would come in. They would make my day. And something that I didn't really like was like the rare, rude customers that would come in and you just like try to ruin your mood and stuff. But you just gotta understand that it's just something that they're going through in the day, and they try to take it out on you and stuff. But all you can do is put a smile on your face and like try to overcome that, and then, you know, attend to the customer's needs so they can leave happy. Yeah, so that was one question. Another one was like, this was at the end for both of them, is like they both ask you if you have any questions for them. In one of them I didn't ask questions, because she had already answered everything. So if this goes for you, I would just say like, oh, you already answered everything and stuff. But you know, just for you to know, you should ask like, how do you like working here? What is your ideal employee? What is the next step in the hiring process? Does a cashier have the same job as a floor sales associate? Because they don't. Ask them, because sales associates, floor sales associates are like, they gain like extra money, pretty much like commission. So if you shop at Victoria's Secret a lot, you know how when they ask you at the register like, oh, who helped you today? Oh, the girl at the front, you know, with the blonde hair. They put that down. They know who you're talking about. They say it's Angela. They put Angela down, and freaking Angela gets like commission from what you just bought. Okay, just so you know. And then another question is like, is there growth in the company? They tell you about how like you can grow in the company and stuff. Oh yeah, and then you know, pay attention to everything they're saying, because it's like key for you to be able to get the job. At the end of the interview, they emphasize a lot about open availability, and this is probably where I fucked myself over, is I said like I'm a full-time student and I can only work these certain days, but in both interviews they were like, oh, we need like someone with open availability, and we need a lot of people that are open, and I wasn't open, so I already knew I was not going to get the job. But you know, if you have a way of like, if you're open, say you're open, and if you're not open but you really need a job, I would suggest putting that you're open. And what else? It's, you know, it's just a must in the company, because both of the locations asked me what, they emphasized a lot about the open availability, and they go over it with you. Like they'll look at your application, they make sure, oh, so you said you could work these days and not these days. And you're like, yeah. And they like write down something or whatever. Floors sales associates, if you're like applying for that, you have like an hourly goal you have to reach. And this is where they were like, we're gonna keep it black and white here. If you can't reach that goal, you can't stay here, and you have to leave. Like, they give you these reports, like these end of the month reports of whether you're doing good or not. So if you're not cool with that, I would not suggest being a floor sales associate. You could work stock in the back, or you can work cashier. So apply for that if you don't think you can do the whole hourly thing, the hourly goals. So something else that Victoria's Secret does is they check your references that you have in the back of the application. Like, that's essential. So make sure you have reliable ones, because they call those back. I think like they give you an option to put 3 of them, but they call 2 to make sure like you're cool and stuff, like you're cool to work there. Okay, so that's as far as I can cover about like information and questions that I was asked there. But I also want to share with you guys like some other questions that I've heard that they may ask you and you may want to study, like sell me something in your purse, or sell me something from the store. Like, they'll try to ask you to sell them something out of your purse, and I don't know, like you can sell them a piece of gum, or you know, your wallet, or something from the store, like sell your favorite body spray, or a shirt, but make sure like you can add on to it, like, oh, supply and demand type of thing. Like, make sure like, oh, like also get one for your sister, or oh, you don't like this color, we have them in these other colors. Like, make sure you can, like, that they know that you can sell something. Another question would to study would be like, what's good customer service to you? What's good and bad customer service? What's the difference of serving a customer and like, I don't know, something like that. Like, I don't even know. But other questions would be like, how would you make a customer feel comfortable during a bra fitting? So you could be like, oh, I'd invite and answer questions for the customer, and, you know, do all of these things so they can feel comfortable. Another question is, what is a pink girl to you? I've heard like many people like getting hired at the pink store being asked this. Make sure you don't say like only the young girls. Make sure you say like the older ladies too, like they buy pink too. What is your favorite bra in the store? Make sure you know like the kind of bras they have there. Like, I wear cotton lingerie. There's Body by Victoria and like other stuff. Make sure you know the brands. Something else would be like, how would you convince someone to buy a bra? I have like other questions that I studied too. Let's see. Describe a time you had good customer service. You could say, here at the Victoria's Secret, like, everyone's nice. They always make sure like you leave happy. How would you react to a difficult customer? Let's see. Describe a time you had to manage your time, and how would you do it? How did you do it? What are some accomplishments you're proud of? Like, I used to like offer Macy's credit cards, and my manager would praise me every time I would get one out, so that was a good accomplishment. What defines excellent customer service? What is your favorite Victoria's Secret bra and why? Why should we hire you? So that's about it, you guys. If you have like further questions, I'll leave my social media down below and you can find me, hit me up, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully this helped for you guys, and you're well prepared and stuff. So yeah, comment, rate, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. So yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.